We gonna move right into the last topic of the day though. Why are car payments so high right now? Y'all know there's a lot of reasons why car payments are so high right now. Could be a whole bunch. And I'm gonna let them explain it. Cause I wanna know too why car prices are so high. As someone who just picked up a car payment that is it's average 700. 700, a little under 700 actually. A little under 700, which is average. That's average, let's be real. If it's 700, if your thing anywhere close to 700, you're an average car payment. And that would be high if I couldn't afford it. That would be very high. And I pretty much have never had a car payment, so it feels, I don't know what to expect when it comes to what a low car payment looks like, especially coming into getting a car. I already knew that the average payment was $700. That was something that I prepared for. Y'all know that's definitely something that I prepared for. But we're going to go ahead and get right on into this. Why car prices are so high.
Car payments have reached record highs in recent years, and Americans are feeling the pinch. The average payment on a new vehicle rose 40% between April 2019 and April 2024.
Some people will look at this and they will say, are you kidding me? I mean, that's basically a house payment for a lot of people.
You know, we always had this idea that a new vehicle was something that was attainable for every American. Well, clearly we've moved away from that premise.
Blame it on high interest rates and high vehicle prices caused by pandemic-era shortages. The good news, payments have dropped a bit and are expected to fall further.
We've reached a peak. We've turned a corner. However you want to say it, the affordability issue is going to get better.
The relief may only be short-lived. Longer term, industry insiders have serious questions about the direction the auto market is headed in. Vehicles were growing more expensive prior to the pandemic, as automakers shifted away from pumping out cars for the mainstream toward a strategy of selling fewer, pricier vehicles that pulled in more profits. Many in the industry say that might be here to stay, meaning a lot of ordinary Americans will be locked out.
Bringing it in, high interest rates and just cars just cost more in general. Y'all know one thing with these cars, they are teched out. Like, it's crazy how much tech is in them. They just gonna get more expensive because of that. The safety things that are in these cars, oh my gosh. It is craziness. I was honestly surprised. Coming from that Nissan Sentra to a GR86, y'all, the car, just on the safety aspects and what it can do I was amazed. I was amazed. I was like, oh, this is how cars are these days? Like, it's ridiculous. The safety on them. I'm going over the line. Beep, beep, beep. The seatbelt, it's beeping. You're not going to want to drive that car without having your seatbelt on. The emergency braking before you get in a car accident. A car in front of you just pulled forward. A car just stopped. The car gonna stop. It is craziness. Cars are all computers these days. So I'm not surprised that the price of them went up. I'm not surprised that the price went up, and I'm not too surprised that the interest on them is going up neither. That's what happens when a lot of foreclosures and repossessions are happening with it. It's just they feel like it's a bigger risk for them, so they're gonna make you pay for that bigger risk.
Here are a few numbers that illustrate how tough it has become. Just 10 years ago, car payments were nearly half of what they are today. The average is $760 a month right now, but quite a few customers pay more than that. A near record number are paying over $1,000 a month and have been for 4 straight quarters.
The idea you're going to pay, $700-800 a month for the next 6 years. I mean, that's just, it just sounds crazy for a depreciating asset.
It is almost like borderline disturbing how acclimated everyone has gotten to the idea that, I've got 700, I've got 1,000. I've got all these dollar figures that other people will say, hey, that's my rent. Hey, that's my mortgage from 10 years ago.
So payments are high, and it's not just because of inflation. Car payments rose twice as much as overall inflation from 2019 to 2024. Two things drove this: high prices and high interest rates. High prices hit the used vehicle market first, where dealers can pretty much charge whatever they can get for a car. But soon they made their way into the new car market, which was hit by a severe shortage of new vehicles and parts. As manufacturing shut down around the world during the COVID pandemic, shortages popped up everywhere. First of cars in 2020, then of parts like semiconductors in 2021 and 2022. With supply so tight and demand so high, dealers and automakers didn't need to offer any incentives. Charging at or above MSRP was common. Anyone who bought a car pretty much at any point in the last 4 years paid historically high prices.
Those same expensive vehicles, though, live in the segments that today are experiencing the greatest amount of depreciation. So you might have somebody who really scored 2 years ago. They went to a dealership, they got a fantastic vehicle, good price, but now they've come back and they didn't realize that the rest of the market has evolved.
And then, of course, there are interest rates.
Anyone shopping for a new car is going to get a fair amount of sticker shock when they see the price of the car along with that higher interest rate.
The Federal Reserve set its target interest rate at 5.25% to 5.5% in July 2023. That isn't the actual rate someone will pay for a car loan or mortgage, but it does affect the overall cost of borrowing. Today, auto loan rates are just above 7%. In March 2022, before the Fed started raising rates, they were closer to 4%.
This is a significant jump. Not only are people paying more for their auto loan, but they're also paying more for the price of the car. So that combined higher prices plus higher loan rates makes car affordability particularly challenging for a lot of people trying to buy a car these days.
In addition, an alarming trend has taken root within a segment of borrowers. Those who decide to get a new car when the one they're driving is worth less than the money they owe on it. Something called negative equity. The average amount on those trade-ins hit an all-time high in the first quarter of 2024. Almost 25% of purchases were made by customers with negative equity, nearly 10% more than just a couple years earlier. Rolling that negative equity into a new loan comes with bigger payments at higher interest rates over longer terms. And trade-ins involving negative equity have only gotten more expensive over time.
What makes it worse, though, is you probably got a decent loan 2 or 3 years ago, right? So if you do have negative equity and you roll into the next payment, it's not like you're even getting more favorable terms. Like, unless you get a subvented APR from the automaker, you're really compounding this problem. Because again, at 7-8%, that first month payment, that first year's payments, a lot of that's interest. You're not going to dig yourself out of this hole.
And finally, consumers want fancier cars, and car makers have capitalized on that.
Because structurally, the industry has been headed to this direction for many, many years. They've been abandoning many of the lower price points. So it's just all kind of going into the soup to kind of lead vehicle prices to be going up just a little bit.
Yeah, they are not lying about that. People definitely want better cars. Like I said, mine has a lot of bells and whistles, and people want that. They don't. If you have a car without a touch screen, people gonna be like, "Hold on, what's going on? You bought a car without a touch screen. It's new, and you bought a car without a touch screen. Oh, they was gonna charge you a little extra for that. Oh, okay. I understand. But supply and demand is a crazy situation in itself, especially in this car market. Y'all know my car, that transmission blew up, so I'm looking for a car. I settled. Okay, I want the GR86. Let me look around. They said it wasn't cars for miles in it on out. So you got to go to Florida. And I said, okay, I'm going to go look in Florida. They said it's one spot with it. I called them up. They said, all right, this is MSRP, and we going to charge you $7,000 more on top of that. And I got to looking. I said, y'all said what? They said, we going to charge you $7,000 more on top of that. I said, are y'all crazy? They said, well, that's supply and demand. And I said, well, you just lost a customer. And I ain't talked to them never again. I said, you got me all the way twisted. I wouldn't dare buy anything from y'all. That's what they told me. Well, supply and demand. We can charge what we want to. All right. Well, if you can charge what you want to, I'm going to go somewhere else. And I found one in Arkansas where they did MSRP. They got laws in Arkansas where they can't go over MSRP. So I was good on that front. I said, they got me all the way twisted. They lost a customer quick. Well, it is what it is. Okay, what it is, well, I'm gone. It's crazy to me. That is supply and demand for you. So prices, and then y'all know the interest rates on cars, they definitely going up. I wouldn't tell y'all my whole breakdown, but would that breakdown apply to me? I'm about to finish paying off my student loans, and y'all know how I do. I ain't gonna stay in this debt for long. I ain't staying in that debt ain't gonna ride with me for too long. So I may took out a longer period, yeah, but I'm gonna pay it off before then. That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. So let's hear what the good news is though on these cars.
Good news for the consumer is vehicle prices have come down.
U.S. production is back up. There are more cars on dealer lots, and incentives rose rapidly from mid-2023 to 2024.
You should be able to get a better deal now than you were, say, 12, 18 months ago. So there's some light at the end of the tunnel, but the payments that people are locked in on those higher priced vehicles aren't going away anytime soon.
Even if interest rates were to be lowered, there is a 6-month lag. However, in the meantime, dealers and automakers will likely continue to offer incentives that will bring those prices down. But different shoppers are apt to see different results based on their own financial situations or the types or brands of cars they are buying.
And so there are still deals to be had. You just got to do a little bit more shopping, a little bit more homework, to find the manufacturers that really are trying to compete quite aggressively.
Consumers with higher credit scores may be able to secure better loan terms. So if you have excellent credit, you're probably going to do better than that standard 7% new car loan rate.
Over the longer term, larger forces in the auto industry could continue to push prices upward. Just a decade ago, the average transaction price was $32,386, which was itself a record high. As of April 2024, average transaction prices were $48,510. Sticker prices are still rising, as are the prices dealers are paying automakers. Vehicles themselves are not getting cheaper. In addition, the White House raised tariffs on EVs from China to 100% of the sticker price, precisely in order to hold off a flood of cheaper cars from the country. These forces combined lead some in the auto industry to wonder whether volumes will remain lower for the foreseeable future as the market continues to shift towards serving upscale customers and charging upscale prices.
Are we going to get back to that 17 million new vehicle sales that we saw for 5 years in a row from 2014 to 2019, or are interest rates and high prices going to keep the equilibrium level lower than it was previously? So are automakers going to keep getting more profit per vehicle, or are they going to try and gain market share and try and just move as many vehicles as possible?
I guess that is a little good news. That's a little good news. It can make you feel better, but I think we need to address the real problem is that people getting stuff that they don't even need, and it's out of their budget. You wanted that new car. Your car working fine. It's still getting you from point A to B. You just want to get from point A to B in better style. So you take on all that debt. That's something that, I done seen it happen in my personal life. Perfectly good car that will get you from A to B. You make a little bit more money. Now you go upgrade your car. You can't really afford the car at the end of the day because you're looking like, holy snap, hold on. Everything done went up on the car. I'm paying more for this car in general. Wheels cost more, maintenance costs more, oil change costs more, gas costs more. But you look better going from point A to B. The real problem is that you didn't need that car in the first place. You didn't need to upgrade your car in the first place. Car worked fine. I'm telling y'all right now, if my Nissan Sentra was still working, I would still be driving that Nissan Sentra. If that transmission did not go out, y'all would still see me riding in that Nissan Sentra. And trust me, that smile would be on my face still. That smile would still be on my face, because I know I'm getting from point A to B without a car payment. And every time you drive by in your nice car, I'm going to say, ooh, that's a car payment. I was almost forced into this situation. You can't really get like they said, the average sticker price, that's how much my car was. So, you know, it kind of got average. And I feel like you getting slapped across the head if you get used at this point. You know, they tax you on used cars too. Might as well get a new car. The real problem is people are getting things that's out of their budget or they don't need in the first place. That's where the real problem comes in, and that's where the real change can be made. Right there. That's it. Getting stuff out of your budget, you don't need it. Last piece of advice. Don't get a car unless you need it. Unless you need it. I'm telling y'all, when I was in Europe, it was a beautiful sight. You didn't need that car. You didn't. Where I stayed at, you did not need that car. If I was to live in the area that I was at, I wouldn't need a car because they bike a lot in the Netherlands. They bike a lot. They public transportation, you can get pretty much anywhere in the Netherlands. You can pretty much get anywhere in Europe, either through the bus or the train, you know. It may take a little more time. Fly, if that's what you want. You didn't need that car. It's kind of, being from America, it's weird. But it was effective, you know. I could get from point A to point B without using that car. But we built our infrastructure around cars, so you kind of have to have a car here to do anything. So the only advice I can give is if you have a working car, don't do it. Don't do it. Over a while, your car will not be the newest. It will not have all the bells and whistles. So that joy is pretty much fleeing. Sooner or later, your car will be old. If you would be, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We had a great show today. And I want to start by saying thank you to everybody that tapped in.